All right, all right. We're live. We're live. What's up, sister? How are you?
I am well, brother. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, same shit, different smell. It's all good. All good. So
All
yeah,
good.
this is a cool situation to do, the whole pop-up live, just jumping in, no promo, no hair, you know, just doing a thing. And I think this topic is going to be really, really hot. Um, I tried to get the video. I couldn't. There was a video of a sister who basically was talking about. Well, so let me do the whole setup. I've been trying to figure out for some time now why uh, a lot of sisters are mad when black men don't like their dress up stuff, right? But then I looked at what they're currently doing, like all the crap that's trending, and I'm looking at chicks who are wearing the fake hair, which doesn't even look. I mean, back in the day in the '80s, when sisters were wearing fake hair, it was designed to look real. And somewhere around late '80s, early '90s, it just went off the rails, and it just looks crazy. Some of it looks like a hat. Uh, some of it looks really, really bad. Um, and so I was trying to figure out, like, when did they just stop caring? Then now it's just wild because they're wearing weird makeup. They're wearing the eyelashes that don't even look real. They're like giant or super fuzzy. They shave off their eyebrows and then paint them back on, looking real retarded. But the thing that hit me is when I was watching reels, and two things happened. First, I saw a clip of RuPaul, and I was like, damn, that's what they're doing. They're going for the RuPaul look. And then I saw a clip. This sister was analyzing a clip from a show that Steve Harvey did. Steve Harvey did a show where he was trying to, not really matchmake. He was making a point. So he had these two black women who looked like drag queens and tried to match them up. And so the sister basically said the same thing that I had been saying, that they look like drag queens. So yeah, so that's what this pop-up discussion is about. Let's get in, let's get out. Everything that we see that is becoming a trend, it isn't a trend because it's something that magnifies the natural beauty of black women. It is a trend that does the exact opposite. And so, I wanted to get your take, and let's go.
Yeah. So I too, for a while, have been saying that I'm not sure what this beauty trend is supposed to do, but it does have many of us looking like drag queens. And I just remember as a little girl growing up in the late 60s, 70s, watching my mother and her sisters. My mother is one is the youngest of four daughters, and eight children total, but the youngest of four daughters. And I just remember thinking that my mother and her sisters and my grandmother were the absolutely most beautiful women I had ever laid eyes on, right?
Yeah.
I still believe that. And I just remember thinking that even as a little girl, their natural beauty was just there for the world to see. And
Right.
so anything that they ever did really was meant to enhance it, or even to be a little playful and a little flirty with it. Like my mother and her sisters had, this was before they, were perming their hair, and, or we were perming hair, because my mother and her sisters were wearing their natural hair, afros and everything. And then every once in a while they want to do something a little bit different. And then, they may have, a wig that was a bob. And the idea was that they weren't trying to fool anybody, because they were going to change it the next day.
Yeah.
The very next day. But it was meant, hey, I want to try this style. It looks good on me. I'm not getting ready to alter my hair, but it's just something, like I said, something to be a little playful with, something to be, maybe if they wanted a more professional look, or whatever the case may be, right? But the whole idea was that it wasn't meant to fool anybody, but there was enough care and attention to detail in it that it could fool somebody. Like, for the longest time, we would always talk about, especially when I was growing up, first of all, Black women could make their own wigs, right? So that was an art that we had. We can make our own wigs. And so, those kinds of things were important to us. Like, we took time and care and like I said, attention to detail. And so you have these beautiful, beautiful women who were wearing different things. They were wearing wigs. There would be this, makeup, but it wasn't used to hide anything. And so today you see sisters, and I can't imagine how any of this is enhancing us, because it's hiding who we are.
Right.
You can't see our eyes, because we're walking around with eyelashes that look like dustpans. Like, I'm sure you saw the clip where there's this woman and she's watching this brother get a haircut, and then they line it with whatever that stuff is, and she's like giving this commentary, oh my gosh, like, that looks so stupid, like, why are they doing that? Doesn't even make sense. Why do they do that? So then the brother takes that commentary and makes a video while he has like Legos attached to his fingertips, and he has the clipper guards attached to his eyes, and he's like, I don't know why that. I don't know why they do that either, because it just looks really stupid. Sort of like juxtaposing what she's calling something that looks absolutely absurd to him looking absurd. And so it is, you can't see our eyes, right? You can't see all of the wonderful features that, first of all, make us who we are, these beautiful, Black women that everybody, wants to be, that everybody is patterning themselves, after, who Black men absolutely love. And I've heard you say it a million times, that there is no creature on the earth that is more beautiful than Black woman. And so, so these things, they don't enhance, they hide. And I'm like, why? Why? And why are we hiding?
Well, and let's say this, because you talk about like all the wonderful features that natural Black women have. The entire world, every culture is trying to be like Black women. And then here's Black women trying to be like men who are dressed up like women. Like, none of that makes any sense, So, I was laughing with a couple of people, because we were talking about, the gay community, these LGBT people who don't like Black women. That's why I don't understand why Black women support them. They don't like Black women, but they want to be. Like, every time you see, these people start going into antics, they're Black women, period. That's what it is. They're Black women. And the trans people, when they play dress up, they're dressing up like Black women. White women, when they want, like, and this goes all the way back to the 1800s, when they would wear bustles. So, ladies, Google a bustle, Bustle. This was a spring, an elaborate spring put in the dress so it would look like they actually had an ass. Like that's what that was designed to do. So yeah, they've been and what's the sister's name? Sarah Bartman, who had the enormous ass to the point where they put her, this was in the 1800s, where they put her on display like a carnival freak. You know what I mean? So they've been marveling, freaking out, and trying to duplicate the black female physique for 1 million years. So to turn around and see black women taking the actual design of God, right? The gods have designed black women's bodies to perfection, and to watch them just turn it into something weird. Daryl McIntosh, what's up, brother? He said not many know what bustles were about. Even if they even know what a bustle is, brother, yeah, they have no idea what it was for. But that's what it was for, because this is pre-plastic surgery. So they would do the Preston James, what's up, big brother? So they would do the whole bustle piece so that they could create the illusion of having an ass. Daryl McIntosh, the Tinyan law, brother. I'm not hip. Put me on game. What is the Tinyan law? Let me know. And yeah, I definitely want to be enlightened. But yeah, so when you talk about how everybody wants to be the black woman, it is psychotic to see the black woman try to be everything that she is not. When I look at Nicki Minaj, who is a filthy cartoon, she's psycho. She looks so stupid. Her and that piece of trash, man. I don't even want to. Okay, retardy B. Just they look stupid, but especially Nicki, because Nicki was beautiful. Cardi B kind of looked like a weird mongoloid experiment with monkeys to begin with. She looks like she's off, but man, to watch a sister, not just Nicki Minaj, Lil Kim, who now looks Asian, to watch sisters who were beautiful, wonderfully and fearfully made, right, by antiquity, just destroy themselves. Just destroy themselves. And so, yeah, it goes back. They want to be drag queen.
Well, I mean, I'm not a psychologist here, but what I will say, particularly about, um, sisters, like in the case of Lil Kim, who, I mean, Lil Kim was the kind of sister that other sisters growing up would be like, damn, she is bad,
Yeah,
like,
indeed.
and you felt good about her because she wasn't like pretty in this way of where she had to be light skinned, with the wavy hair and all those other things that so often we see promoted in the black community, and not necessarily even by black people, but what is acceptable for white people, what makes them feel comfortable, what
Yeah.
they associate with as a
Good
beauty
beauty.
standard and that whole proximity to whiteness. So when you have somebody like a Little Kim who was not anywhere close to that, right? I just, I'm gonna speak for myself, and I dare say this was true for a whole lot of sisters. We felt like we were in there because
Right.
Little Kim was just absolutely gorgeous. And so when you see the kinds of the kinds of things, the kinds of modifications that have happened, I mean, you almost have to wonder, like, what's happening in Hollywood, what's happening, is there some sort of pressure going on,
Right.
is there like something, you feel like there's something extra going on. But one of the things I do want to say You mentioned before people start knocking on doors, oh my god, they're homophobic, and that is absolutely not the case. And I know that, and I know that I can speak for you as well, Daryl. When we're talking about this LGBTQIA, we are talking about this white movement, right? That has historically least our struggle in order to advance their own struggle. Because
That's
when
right.
you look at, because we, let me tell you something, as a Black person, and I know you feel the same way, Daryl. Um, we want our Black queer brothers and sisters to be okay in this white racist world, just like any, our straight brothers and sisters. So I need for people to really understand that, because it's very easy for folks to run with that and try to be divisive, and we don't need that.
Right.
But there is this thing where, the LGBTQ movement, to me, which is very similar to how feminism works, and is very divisive. But you see this, there seems to be this influence in terms of what is this new beauty standard. And as a mother, and it's, because we could talk about it from the perspective of, yeah, it kind of looks crazy, like what in the world is really going on. But from an even more practical perspective, like what becomes the message to our daughters, right? Like,
Yes.
I don't want my daughter just turned 13. Now, I don't have necessarily any fear of this, because this is not what I do. I tell
Right.
people all the time, my 13-year-old daughter does not twerk because her mother don't twerk, right? We
That's
don't
right.
do that. And
That's right.
so I'm not doing all of these extra enhancements, so I don't expect my daughter to do that. But what I have sense enough to understand, sense enough and sensitivity enough to understand, is that, social media, no matter how much you protect your children or try to do your damnedest to protect your children, the outside world, creeps in to our, worlds, and they do influence our children. And so I don't want our daughters thinking that somehow her natural beauty is not enough, that somehow, as she gets older and she decides that, she wants to date, when, I give her permission, of course.
Indeed.
we got some,
Indeed.
right, we got some time for that. But even still, like, even as she is beginning to form her own opinion about herself, and her peers forming their opinions about themselves,
Yeah.
as their own beauty, I don't want it influenced, and nor to reflect, what we're seeing out here, because that's, I don't think it's healthy. I think it says, there's a self-hate component to it.
Yeah.
When we're talking about not being healthy, it's not even financially prudent when you think about the kind of money that we are investing in those things. And then even getting back to the
Yeah.
health perspective, we got Black women, who, I mean, we have the bodies that, every woman across on the planet wants, and then we're going and we're letting people alter our bodies, like this whole Brazilian butt lift thingy, and it looks crazy.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that
it's dangerous. People are dying.
right, especially when they get it on the cheap. I just deleted a dude who made a goofy ass comment because he was mad that we were talking about Nicki Minaj. But it's like, if you don't like it, dude, get your ass out of here. But really, the reason why Nicki is a problem, I'm not attacking her as a person because I don't know her. But this is a woman who was absolutely beautiful. And she got, I don't know if it was a Brazilian butt lift or whatever, but her butt looks like a cartoon now. She got the butt and the breast, and it doesn't look fly. That's not sexy. That looks stupid. It looks really, really crazy. So it's like, why would you do that to yourself and then want people to? And I guess some people like it. because I guess a lot of women want to do it, and a lot of dudes, man, I don't know. I don't get it. I like it. I like it natural. But I want to go back to the Tinyon law. Daryl McIntosh put the explanation in there. He said it was meant to stop black women from displaying their hair in public. White women in their envy because deep down they knew their husbands were lusting behind our voluptuous women. Yeah, man, that's yeah, never heard of the law, but I absolutely believe it because even to this day they really try to stop black women from wearing their hair in their natural form. They actually want them to wear the wigs, the weaves, and the craziness. So yeah, I absolutely believe that that law existed or it still does. It is. It's just it's really really it's crazy. But I want to jump to the point of where I was coming from, and I think you also that what I figured out is so number one. Black a lot of black women aren't going to like this. Number one, black women love to speak for black men. So we got 40 years of negative weave jokes, but black women will still say they're doing it because it's what we like. Makes no sense to me. Even if we date you and you have a weave, doesn't mean we like it. Means maybe we saw past it and still saw your beauty. Maybe we like you, but stop speaking for us. We don't like that shit. But the key that I want to get to is that I think some of these women, and here's where I'm going to piss people off. So get ready because I don't care. But where I'm going to piss people off, I think all of this stuff that they're doing because it came from transvestites and drag queens back in the day. I think a lot of these sisters who are doing it, I think that's what they're going for. I don't think they're trying to enhance their beauty because that's not what's being done. They look like drag queens. And that's why when I saw the clip of this sister critiquing the Steve Harvey clip, she said the same thing. She said they look like drag queens. And when I look and I think about a lot of these sisters, no, with all of this extra shit, especially the eye lashes, you look like men dressed up as women. And so, and now I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole with this. They look like men dressed up as women, and they try to force it, the concept of black men liking it. I think they want to embrace masculinity, and then they want black men. And I think that's why anytime you say anything to a lot of these sisters that they don't like, the first thing comes out of their mouth, oh, you must be gay. I think some of them want us to be, and they want to be in some kind of weird situation. So they're dressing up like men who dress up like women. That's my theory. I'm not a psychologist, but that's where I'm at. It because it's some sick shit. Like otherwise, why would you take your beautiful existence and mock yourself with bullshit? Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I will definitely say this. I think that it does look very masculine. I mean, even sort of like the squaring off of, the eyebrows. I mean, it does. It takes on a very, very masculine look.
Absolutely.
And so what troubles me about it, I mean, well, there are obviously a lot of things that trouble me about it because I've already commented on many of those things. But the thing that I don't understand, and this perhaps maybe isn't just it troubles me, but it really confounds me, and that is who's telling us that we should do this? Like,
Ah,
where did this come from?
yes. Yeah,
Like,
and I know a lot of
right, when you think of some of the most iconic black women ever to grace the earth, there is an absolute feminine quality
yes.
to how they look. So you can talk about Diane Carroll, you can talk about Vanessa Williams, you know, Cicely
Michelle
Tyson,
Nichols.
right?
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah.
all
Running
of
down the
these women,
line.
you can just go down the line, and there is a femininity, right, that
Yeah.
exudes from them, and we don't see that anymore. And I'm curious. I want to know who told us that this idea or this notion of femininity, even if it's not articulated in that way, that's exactly what it appears
Well,
to be
and
happening.
yeah, and propaganda is almost never articulated. Our propaganda sometimes is so insidious that it just becomes a part of the whole lexicon of that we use on a regular basis. It's just kind of out there, and people are just talking, and it's not this big bold statement that hits people in the head. But I watch trends. And so if you see that there is a trend, that trend didn't come out of nowhere. It came from somewhere. Someone had an agenda. And just like, we know that feminism is informed by white supremacy and therefore has its agenda, we know that the alphabet people is also that group is also informed by white supremacy, and so they have agendas. Because here's one thing that we know, or that I know, and then you probably know too. I think a lot of black people have no clue that a lot of black, well, they want to call themselves same gender loving now, because they want to move away from being called gay, and they want to move away from that LGBT bullshit, because it is decidedly anti-black. But I think that community is pushing that white community, the L giblet, they're pushing the bullshit. Because look, I worked in fashion for a year. I modeled, but I was also an editor at one of at the second largest fashion publication. And so I know the trends are developed. I did a whole piece where I talked about how made in Italy became a trend. Because before that it was just people were just doing some shit, but Italy decided we're going to create some shit where people think that's the highest of the high, and it's not. But we accept that now. So any Uchi, Vaguchi, Ferrarucci, we're like, oh yeah, I got to get that. But that was a trend that was implanted, and no one did a big sign. And so I think a lot of that we're dealing with now is really, really coming to the forefront, because all of this shit, the ass injections, the getting the tits done, and then just ruining these black canvases, ruining these black faces with the eyelashes, shaving off the eyebrows, and just even like the lipstick colors some of these chicks wear. I'm like, yeah, you look just like a drag queen. So this isn't natural. This isn't something that black women picked up. That was foisted upon them, and they thought it was fly, and so they roll with it. And that's really, I'm gonna flip this again just to make sure I say it in a way that people understand it. Because everything, anytime you say anything about a woman, especially a black woman, you hate black women, you hate black. Shut the fuck up. This isn't about hatred. This is about me loving the natural state of black women and being confused as to why they would just distort it to the level of abomination. I think because when you see some of these sisters and they have this deep, deep masculine energy, they're saying crazy shit about black men, they're masculine as hell. And so I think that there's like subconsciously some weird shit going on with them wanting to really be masculine. And so they're doing it in a way that's distorted and crazy. But I think that's what it is, because every time you say something to one of these goofy chicks, they accuse straight black men of being gay, but also they themselves are trying to be some form of masculine existence. I'm not a psychologist. That's what I think, and I bet I'm on point. I bet I'm on point.
Well, I mean, one thing I think we can say for sure is that if there was a poll done of black men, simple question, do you like this? Check yes or no.
You check the box, baby.
Check the box.
Yeah.
And that also is telling, because if, I mean, you're not the first black man I've heard that says, I don't know what you all are doing, but I'm gonna go with it because you all are so adamant that this is how you want, and this is how it's your head, it's your body, you can do whatever I want to do, whatever, and you gonna like it, and that's it. Like,
Right.
we have so much of that energy going on, and that's kind of tiring. For that's tiring for a brother. That's tiring for anybody.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
I would ask sisters, and I say this very humbly and with much love and respect, because, I am a sister. I have been raised by beautiful sisters, right? Beautiful black women. Um, I am the mother of a beautiful young black woman in the making.
Yes.
And I am so guarded over how she presents herself,
That's right.
right? And so I do say this with much humility, and that is, I would say, sisters, particularly those of us who are wanting to be in relationships with men, or who are already in relationships with men. And I'm talking, let me go back, let me just go back a little bit, rewind. I mean, those of us who want to be in relationships with black men, those of us who are already in relationships with black men, is
Yeah.
this what they really want? Is this what they because in the same way that we are asking black men to be what we want them to be, I think that, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And so black men should be able to say, hey, I like this. I ain't really feeling this. And have us respond in a way that doesn't put, anybody on the defense for even suggesting that, look, I love you. I'm interested in you. I'm feeling you, but you don't need all of that
Don't need it.
without us going. But it's my, like I said, that whole routine, and like,
Right.
because again, there are things that we like about black men, and we certainly voice those things that we like in a
Absolutely.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
um, in a heartbeat, we voice those things that we like and prefer, or dislike, or don't want to be bothered with, in terms of
Well,
and so I just think it's part of the dialogue.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the funny part is, and this goes all the way back to when I first, you know, just looked at black women and was like, oh my God, these motherfuckers are beautiful, right? I was like 8 or 9. I was like, oh my God, right? And the thing I noticed almost immediately afterwards was that whatever a man thought would please a woman, he would do it. So them being vocal, black women being vocal about what they like in a man, we with the shits, right? Like, that's where we get our fashion trends from, except, a lot of goofy dudes. But dudes who are really, really into the sisters, that's just what it's been. And that's with everything. Easy E said back in the day, he said all this gang shit, drug shit, we can end it overnight. Because if black women turned around and said, I am only going to date black men with PhDs, the schools would be full. They would be full with cats trying to get PhDs. But unfortunately, we don't get that reciprocated, because like I said, we've had anti-weave statements and we weave jokes for 40 years. and they still try to say, "Oh, black men like this." No, we don't. No, we don't. I mean, now for me, I'm a brother, and I'm just gonna be real. Now, so I've seen some dope ass weaves and wigs. They look good, but if I'm if I'm honest, that's a deal breaker for me. When I see these sisters, I'm like, "Ooh, she fine," but what's that shit on her head? It's a deal breaker for me. I can't do it. I can't do it. That's just me. And it's funny because black women who wear all that bullshit, when they take it off and go natural, Jesus Christ, superstar, fly as hell. I'm gonna do a quick little sidebar. I dated. This was before my son was born. I dated this. You talk about voluptuous, beautiful chocolate sister, banging body, just face would just glow when she smiled. I mean, she was just on point, but she couldn't keep that shit out of her head, right? And so, but I was into her and trying to get her to understand. So we were going somewhere. Oh, it was a banquet or whatever with my fraternity, and we when I go to pick her up, weave is gone. She got this cute little short. Man, I was sitting there like, "Ooh, Lord, I'm gonna have to lock this down." We sat at the table. People who knew her, because I'm an alpha, she's an AKA. People who knew her were coming over, going, "Oh my God, you look so beautiful!" But her head was so messed up. She jumped up, ran home, and put the shit back in her head, looking like a clown. So all of that, yeah, black men love. No, they don't. The dude that you were in love with was telling you that shit was trash and telling you when you did the short style, the natural style. My God. Daryl McIntosh said, yep, I use that word too. Negropian. Negropian, which is, European Negroes. It's really, really bad. But this whole gender thing, because black women weren't doing that until the LGBT community started expressing themselves with their bullshit and their propaganda. And it's really, I don't know where this is gonna go, but it's looking like it's going someplace that just won't be good. It won't be good. There's a race to the bottom, and we're winning.
Well, I'm going to continue to uplift our sisters. I'm going to continue to encourage our sisters. And I think, we just have to keep having these kinds of conversations, like literally keeping it real, like, and asking the questions like, what's really going on? Where did
Yeah.
and for those, and you used this a couple of days ago, for those of you who love to use the Malcolm quote about black women being the least protected, there's so much more to that quote.
So much more.
We just took that little bitty snippet because
Made it mean what y'all wanted to
it
mean.
made it mean what we wanted to mean. And it's part of a bigger context in which, Brother Malcolm says, "Who taught you to hate yourselves?" And he's speaking to black women.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a fair question.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair question.
Yeah. So at some point, we're going to have to ask it. And the sisters who really, really despise themselves are going to have to answer, because what we're seeing now is we're seeing an awakening in a lot of black men. A lot of black men are rebelling the bullshit. They're repelling the bullshit because they don't want this. We don't want people speaking for us, because it's not just black women. Everybody's coming at, and they've narrowed it down to the straight black man. Everybody's coming at us with their bullshit. I mean, that race in Georgia, Stacey Abrams, she kissed my ass. I don't want anything to do with her, but she basically is getting support from black people. But she turned around, now she wants to have a micro focus on black men. Like, can black men save the election? It's not our job to save the election. Fuck you. Fuck your election. That's not our job. all of these politicians who think they can come for straight black men. All of these groups want to come for straight black men. And unfortunately, some of our most insane sisters think that they can just come in and say and do whatever, they want to do with straight black men speaking for us. Oh, y'all like this, y'all. They love going to prison because they secretly, and that's the other dot to connect, because a lot of these crazy women love talking about how black men love trans women. So that was the magic dot that connected everything. I'm like, you keep telling us we like that, and we don't, but you keep telling us we like that, and you're trying to become that. So that's some wild shit.
Well, I saw a very interesting post the other day on Facebook. And, just FYI, I'm not debating this issue at all, because it's not for me to debate. So let me just say that to our viewers. It's not for me to debate.
Yeah.
And it's actually nothing. It's also not anything that I'm interested in debating. But what I saw was this statement that said, if you are if you are a straight man who dates a trans woman, you are still a straight man, because a trans woman is a woman.
And ain't no man saying that.
And so the reason, that I'm not going to debate it is because I am not in a position to debate this issue about, you know, people's sexuality, fluidity, all of that. I'm not in a position to do that. So I'm not, right? I'm not going to look at someone who is a trans woman and tell them they are not a woman. I'm not going to do that.
I will.
And you can do that.
I will.
Right.
I'll look and I'll be like, look, homeboy, you're not a woman.
So I'm not gonna do that. But what I am perfectly willing to do is to say, and I can do this on behalf of my grown sons. How do we have the audacity to tell Black men? Because I only see this stuff, and it's not to say that it's not happening elsewhere, but I see this stuff. The only time I see this stuff is when it's being marketed to straight Black men.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so my question becomes, who is saying this? And why do we think that we can speak on behalf of Black men? We have to, sisters, we have to stop doing it. And when we see others who are speaking on behalf of straight Black men, if they ain't straight Black men, then we should not be thinking that what is being said is in fact what Black men are thinking and saying, right? Yeah. We can't do that.
Yeah,
it's divisive.
That's
it's
right.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
It's dismissive. It's treating Black men like they don't know their own minds, they don't know their own hearts, like they don't have agency, and they absolutely do. And it's just also a matter of respect, is what it also boils down to.
Which we don't get any. We're not deserving of. We're like Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect. That's straight Black men, and we got to stop that, because the people who have the least amount of respect are some of our Black women, who are still coming to us for protection. I need a provider. Well, you can't get none of that if you don't even like me. You know what I mean? Daryl McIntyre says it comes from agents among us who push that narrative. It's not even just us, brother. It comes from without, and then they use the agents. You know what I mean? So there are agents, of course, but that's that agenda that it's being played on us from outside. I mean, and that's real. Like a lot of the real goofy, dangerous shit. Like this dude, and I'm just going to call him out. First off, his mama named him Charity. Charity. He calls himself a heterosexual, but he's not, because some of the shit that he thinks, not because he's feminine, because you can be feminine and not gay, but he's hella feminine, but he's also saying some real crazy shit. He pushed that whole black men are the white people, straight black men are the white people of black people. He started saying some really terribly psychotic shit that I've never heard another black man say. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I want to say this piece because this shows you who the agents are, Brother McIntosh. This shows you who the agents are because he's clearly an agent. He said that black men don't even have sex with black women. We use their bodies to masturbate ourselves. I've been a straight black man all my life. I've never heard that shit. And I've known some dudes who really did hate black women. And they never said anything or even alluded to anything close. So we have to be careful, or our black women have to be careful with the propaganda that they're allowing people to use them to propagate in our community, you know. And when we talk about the hostility from that alphabet community, it is not hostility. They lie and say, "Oh, black men hate us." No, we hate individuals who fuck with us with their bullshit. Nobody hates you. There's always been a safe haven in the black community. Stop the bullshit. White men are trying to kill you and hunt you down. Black men ain't doing none of that. We want to let you be, but we want you to let us be. Let me make that clear. We want you to let us be. And when you start saying all of this crazy shit like trans women are black women too, you demand that we date you, love you, protect you, that's when we say shit like, no, bruh, I don't do that for other men. So it's like, go be who you are, do what you want. Stop playing games with us. Stop playing games and stop using our sisters to run your little bullshit games. Let's shut it all down. Let's shut it all down. So, you know, to the people who think that we're picking on people, that we're targeting people, no, what we are doing, and I'm going to speak for myself as a straight black man who loves black women, who loves black people, I will say what the hell I want to say. And if you don't like it, step away from me because you can't stop me. You can't even influence me. You can't. Maybe when I was a teenager and even then, but you can't influence me. So stop it. Stop the attacks. Stop using people to come in and go after straight black men. And sisters, you got to think about some of the ignorant shit that you say and this dress up shit that you do, because that's hurting you more than anybody because you're out here looking like a clown. Who do you think is going to marry Lil' Kim? Okay. That was it. Point proven, mic dropped. Like, it's not what we want. Nikki is still cute. So, you know, yeah, she'll be okay. She still looks like a damn clown with that enormous ass, but she didn't chop that face up, so she's still fucking gorgeous. You know what I mean? But Lil' Kim and a lot of women just walking around here, they've destroyed themselves either with plastic surgery or the eyelashes, the eyebrows, you know. It's just it's shots fired, indeed, brother. Boom, boom. But yeah, so it's bad. And as a straight black man, well, first off, as a heterosexual black man, don't ever fucking call me a cisgender. Kiss my ass. I am not cisgendered. I don't want to know what it means. Go take that shit to all four corners of hell. I am a heterosexual black man, a straight black man. Go on with that bullshit. Stop trying to redefine me. But black women, let me say this, and I don't give a damn if you think I hate you or not. You are receiving your own hatred through me because I don't hate you. I hate some of you as individuals because you're evil, but I do not hate the group. But black women, we are your natural allies, and you should pay attention to who we are and not all of this, you know, all this bullshit. Stop that. Let's just keep it 100, keep it a thou wow. We should be with each other and talk to each other and deal with each other. This isn't about hating. This is about rejecting bullshit. It's that simple. It's no more complicated than that. No more complicated than that. And so we just wanted to do this pop up real quick, kind of, you know, put some shit out there to make people mad. because when you make people mad, some of them anyway, they start to think. Right? And it
Yeah.
is a revolution. So, part of the revolution is actually getting to the point where you can, make people think, make people, kind of deal with some things differently.
Black
Yeah,
love is the revolution.
it's the revolution, y'all. It's already on my Facebook page for sale. Get your Black Love is the Revolution shirt, your Love in the Day, Believe in Love Again shirt, and represent, because that's what I'm about. So if you don't see that, then I can't help you. Go somewhere. That's your own mentality. That's
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Anything else, Denise? Did we kill it all, sister? Is it
I
dead?
well, I think we killed it all. I guess the only other thing that I would add, about when we were talking earlier about the LGBTQ movement, as a movement and being racist, um, folks, let's go back, take it back to, when HIV was spreading like wildfire in our community. Um, if you want to know who was controlling all of those dollars that various government agencies, particularly CDC, was issuing for us to figure out how to address that in our community to keep brothers, our queer brothers, from dying from HIV. And as you know, we're still dying from
Yeah.
HIV. Right. If you want to know who was controlling all of those dollars, and not just here in the United States, but for our queer brothers and sisters in Brazil and the Caribbean and even on the continent, it wasn't us. It
Damn sure
was
wasn't me.
it was not us. And so for me personally, actually that was my first real understanding about how racist that movement is, and how they are not natural allies
Yeah.
to our queer brothers and sisters. And I think it's important that we continue to talk about that, because this issue of sexuality and fluidity and all of that becomes this very divisive thing. And actually is something that is weaponized against straight Black
Yeah.
people, as
Absolutely.
if we have no love for our queer brothers and sisters, which is absolutely crazy, because all of us got, a queer sister or brother or aunt or uncle or somebody that,
Somebody in the family.
that when we see them, we got mad love.
Ain't
You know,
nobody trying to beat them up.
and you ain't letting nobody
Ain't
disparage them,
nobody bet not beat them up.
but not say
They
nothing.
will fucking
You
die.
know,
That's right.
right. So we gotta, stop letting people tell us who we are to
Yeah.
each other. And this Black love revolution, right? We're talking we're talking primarily about the chasm between straight Black men and straight
It's
Black
straight black.
women.
Yeah.
But the Black love revolution does not exclude our queer brothers and sisters.
That's right.
Black love is Black love, and we need to be about it.
That's real talk. It's real talk. So I need everybody to go ahead and grab one. Black love is the revolution, and it will always be the revolution, because we are. My brother said, Black love matters. That's right.
That's right.
Daryl McIntosh, Black Love Matters. I've been using that same phrase, brother. But yeah, so that's where we got to be. So yeah, so I think we killed it all.
Okay.
I think we have to keep these kinds of dialogues going, because they're important. We have to define ourselves. We have to talk about the things that we need to talk about and keep it moving. So thank you, sister, for joining me. Cause
Thank you,
yeah,
brother.
as usual, this was power. This was
This was
power.
power.
Yeah. So
All
I'll see
right.
you on the next one.
See you on the next one.
We're going to keep it going. All right, y'all.
Peace and
Peace. Have a good
blessings.
Sunday. All right.